Everything started on a trip on a train. It was very strange outside. The blurred trees looked like phantoms in a dark night. Darker, though, was the feeling he was having inside. How could he possibly have thought of doing that? A prisoner of the worst kind. Not only was his heart bleeding, but now he realized a small spot of blood on his right wrist. Was all of that a dream? He then heard the noise of a bump on the roof of the train. He felt his whole body move in response to the sudden fear. He could feel something lingering outside. He could hear the movements of the trees. He knew whatever it was after him. He knew he would have to pay for what he had done. He reached for the knob of the cabinet, opened the door, and headed to the closest toilet. He had the bag in his right hand. It was heavy. He tried not to think of what was inside it. Everything was silent. All passengers were sleeping, not aware of the monster traveling with them. Suddenly, out of the opposite cabinet comes a man with inquisitive eyes. He froze in desperation. Was it the end of the line for him? The strange man's eyes turned to the bag, but it was too dark to understand his features. Could he see the blood dripping from the bag? Could he see its lumpy form? He decided to go back inside the cabinet. The strong smell became a signature of what he had done. He had no way out now. He started to see faces in everything. The dark forest was waiting for him. The trees were there as a torment waiting to grab him as soon as he stepped out. The dawn was starting to show its face, to reveal his darkness. He decided to finish what he started. That was the only way out. He slowly opened the bag. There were just a couple of pieces left. It had already been 3 days on the train, and that was the only way to become one with her forever. He took the first piece and, without thinking, started to chew. The taste gave a numb feeling to his throat. That was the worst thing he could have done, but no one would believe his story. It had all been an accident, a terrible one, but he wouldn't allow his life to end because hers had. He took the second piece and almost fainted. He tried to think of the kids. He needed to do that for them. They needed him alive. That was love, wasn't it? To sacrifice. Yes, he decided to take the last piece, but couldn't chew it this time. It was too much. He swallowed it, and with it came the putrefying taste of his actions. He then suddenly felt overwhelmed. All the heavy weight of what these past 3 days represented came all at once. He made a last effort not to faint. Was he really a monster? Wasn't all that for love? A knock on the door made him wake from the frenetic thoughts. What about the bag? There was a hint of blood on the back of it. As a reflex, he took the knife from his back pocket and cut a chunk of his right finger. A pool of blood formed on the floor. It was the perfect alibi. He opened a fraction of the door, and he felt his soul freeze inside his body. No one was there. No one he could see was there, but he felt it. He felt that horrible presence, that haunting presence. It came for him. He realized it then. He was on a phantom train. He was the victim, not her. She was there too, but in a different cabin, paying for her actions too. But his had just started. That was a trip that would never end. For all eternity, he was doomed to feel that rotten taste. He would cut different parts of himself until he was no more.